here's a story, and this story is called Meddle and the Mice, about Mr. Meddle, I guess. "These tiresome mice," said Meddle's Aunt Jemima, looking into the larder. "They've been all over the place. Look, nibbling this, that, and the other." So the mice have been nibbling her food. Do you know what nibbling means? Eating very tiny bits because they've got very small teeth. They're nibbling. If you don't eat a lot, you're nibbling. "Or what about getting a cat, Aunt?" asked Meddle. "Wouldn't that be a good idea? She'd soon get rid of the mice for you." "You know I don't like cats," said his aunt. "Now, Meddle, I'm going to make out to tea, so please behave yourself until I come back again. I'll be back about 8, and we'll have supper then." Off she went. Meddle heaved a sigh of relief when she had gone. Ah! Aunt Jemima was always finding fault with him. It was nice to be able to sit down and put his feet up on the mantelpiece and read a book and eat as many peppermints as he liked.
I want to sleep.
Do you know what peppermints are? Peppermints are sort of sweet with a minty taste. Often they're green.
Who's that?
That must be Mr. Meddle. Let's go on. As he sat there reading, he heard a scrabbling sound from the larder. "Those mice again." Meddle put down his book and thought. "What about a mousetrap?" he said. "I know where there is one, out in the shed. I'll get it and set it with a bit of bacon and a bit of cheese. I'll catch those mice for Aunt Jemima. Won't she be pleased?" He went out to fetch the trap. As he came out of the shed with it, the large black cat from next door came up to him and rubbed against his legs. "Puss, puss," said Meddle, and bent to stroke the cat.
Can I see? Can I see the mousetrap?
Then a bright idea came to him. Let me tell you the idea. Mr. Meddle had an idea. What do you think his idea is?
I don't know.
Maybe he's going to use the cat to get the mice. Let's see. Then a bright idea came to him. "Puss, would you like to sit in our larder and catch a few mice?" he asked. The cat purred, which means yes. The cat purred. She went indoors with Meddle and sat down by the fire to wash herself. "I'll just set this trap, Puss," said Meddle, "and then you can go into the larder with it. What with you and the trap, the mice will have a very bad time." He went to the larder. He took the cheese from the dish and broke a bit off. He put it in the trap. Then he unwrapped the bacon and cut a bit of fat from it. He put that on the hook too, and then carefully set the trap. He put it down on the floor. "There," he said. "If that doesn't catch a mouse, I'll be surprised." He forgot to put the lid back on the cheese dish. Uh-oh, what's going to happen?
Cheese dish.
He forgot to put the lid on the cheese dish. what do you think will happen?
I don't know.
Well, the mice will eat the cheese on the cheese dish, won't they? If there's no lid, they'll be able to get in the cheese dish and eat the cheese inside. He forgot to put the lid back on the cheese dish. He forgot to wrap the bacon up again. What's going to happen?
I don't know.
The mice are going to eat the bacon, aren't they? If it's not wrapped up. Meddle could never think of little things like that. He called to the cat. Here, puss. Come and watch for mice here. Come along. The cat didn't come. So Mr. Meddle went and fetched her and put her firmly down in the larder. Then he shut the door. It was cold in the larder.
What's the larder?
The larder's where you keep the food. It's usually quite a cold place and it keeps the food fresh. It's like a little room to keep the food. A small room for food. You could call our basement where we keep the food a larder. It's not really, it's a bit like that. That's a bit like a larder. It was cold in the larder. The cat didn't like it. She didn't care about mice either, for she was well fed and never bothered herself to catch them. She mewed and scratched at the door. You catch a few mice and I'll let you out, said Mr. Meddle, and put his feet up on the mantelpiece again. The cat seemed to settle down, and there was no sound of either cat or mouse from the larder. Mr. Meddle made himself some tea after a bit and got the biscuit tin. He wasn't going to bother to cut himself bread and butter. He finished all the biscuits in the tin. He ate them all. That's a bit greedy. Then he washed up his tea things and went back to read again. But he fell asleep and only woke up when he heard his Aunt Jemima coming in. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, she said. I missed the bus, and it's 8:30 and I'm so hungry. Why, Mr. Meddle, you haven't even set the supper. Lay the cloth quickly. She stood before the mirror to take off her hat. Suddenly there came a loud noise from the larder. Crash! Whatever's that? Cried Aunt Jemima. Oh, I set a mouse trap there for you, said Meddle. I expect that's the trap catching a mouse. What? A crash like that? Said his aunt. Oh my goodness, there's another crash. And look, there's milk flowing out from under the door. Mice indeed. She ran to the larder door and opened it. Out shot the big black cat. It jumped out of the window and disappeared. Aunt Jemima stared in horror at the larder. How did that cat get in here? Oh my goodness, it's eaten the meat pie I left for supper, and the fish for breakfast, and it's gobbled up the custard I put ready, and it's upset the milk, and look at all this chewed bacon and nibbled cheese. How did the cat get in there? Then she gave a scream. The mousetrap had gone off and snipped her toe. And nipped her toe. What's that? Oh, the mousetrap. Mr. Meddle, did you put that cheese and bacon in it? Yes, Aunt, said Mr. Meddle in a small voice. Well, why didn't you cover up the cheese dish and wrap up the bacon? Asked his aunt. Didn't you know that even if the cat wasn't going to nibble them, the mice would climb up on the shelves and eat them? They wouldn't bother about the trap if they could see the cheese and bacon up here in plenty. No, Aunt, said Meddle, edging towards the kitchen door. Meddle, how did that cat get in here? Did you put her in? Said Aunt Jemima suddenly. The larder window's closed. It couldn't possibly have got in by itself. Well, Aunt Jemima, you see, Aunt, it's like this. After all, a cat does catch mice, began Meddle.
Wait, can I see? Oh.
And I thought... You thought it would be a good idea to put that cat in my larder for hours till it began to get really hungry and eat all our supper? Cried his aunt. Come here, Meddle, come here. But Meddle was gone. Good thing too, said his aunt. There's only a supper enough for one, an egg and bread and butter. Just wait till you come in, Meddle, just wait. Poor Meddle. He does his best, but it's such a bad best, isn't it? The end.
Now can I have another story for a book?
Another story.
For the book. I choose this time.
Okay, last story then.
I choose right.